oh my god, this is so cringe. With my crochet items as well. As you can see, I don't follow instructions. I'm a self-drafter kind of girl. Welcome back to my crochet podcast. I'm Sophia, and I'm just gonna show everything that I've been working on recently and everything that I've finished recently. So I have one finished object to show today and two sweaters that I've started working on, and also I started a sewing class last week and I went into sort of like a kick of just mending everything that I had to mend just because I've been putting it off for so long for really no reason at all. So I just thought that I'd show quickly, so that I can sort of document my journey because I want to start sewing some actual full garments as well. But this is just where I'm starting from. But let's start now with my finished object, which is what I'm calling the meadow blouse. It is heavily inspired by blouse number 1, which you've probably seen if you watch knitting podcasts. It is a knit pattern with this same boat neckline, and it's just a sort of drapey, loose blouse. Not super loose, it doesn't have a ton of positive ease, but it just has that sort of drapey fit. So this is my version of it. It's sort of stretched when I blocked it, so it's quite long now. Just a little bit longer than I would have liked, but it's still really wearable and probably the most wearable thing that I've ever made. It's made using 9 balls of Drops Flora, actually 8.5 for it to fit me, and it's a little bit too big, so definitely could have gotten away with 8. It is made with cluster stitches going on the right side, and then on the wrong side I would do a row of slip stitches so that I wouldn't get like that back and forth texture, because this was made in one piece basically. So I started the neckline on one side and I made it just in this large T shape. Like you can see there's no seam where I added the sleeves on because I don't really like the look of that, especially on a drop shoulder. I think a seam on the shoulder looks nice if it's an inset sleeve where it really defines where the end of the shoulder is, but if it's on a drop shoulder, I think it makes it makes me look broader at the shoulder, which is not what I like on myself. But obviously that totally depends on your body shape and your own preferences. So anyway, but instead I just decided to do the sleeves in one piece with it, so I didn't have to seam anything at the end either, which was really nice. Now let's see if you can see the texture. Yeah. So it's all of these cluster stitches, and then you can see that there's kind of a ridge in between where there's the slip stitch row. Obviously having these slip stitch rows meant that this took way longer than it would have if I simply didn't have a slip stitch row, if I just did cluster stitches the whole time. But I thought it was definitely worth it for the look that I was going for. I was also a little bit concerned at some point that it might look a little bit grandma-ish, but I don't think that it does. Although it was definitely possible. Then for the sleeves, I decided to just leave it like, there's no decreases in the sleeve at all, you can see. And it has this ribbing section. It was quite a long ribbing section actually because I miscalculated how long the sleeves should be at the beginning, but it's totally fine. I think it looks good. And I really like the feeling of wearing these loose sleeves. Obviously they're not very practical. If you want to do dishes or something when you're wearing the sweater, it's just not going to happen. You're going to get the sleeves wet and it's going to be annoying. But to wear it, it really feels fun. It's so flowy. The color is also brown, and it's this perfect brown. It's the exact same color as one of my favorite sweaters that I can't really wear because it has so many holes in it. So I made this as sort of a replacement for that, and it looks so good on me. I have to say, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I just think that this specific shade of brown looks so good. And so I would definitely make another sweater with this exact same yarn. Like, I like the Drops Flora. I think that it's soft enough, and it also has a bit of structure. Although, interestingly, the Drops Alpaca sweater that I made did not grow. But this Drops Flora sweater that I made did grow. And this is the first sweater I've ever made that's grown. But I think that's more so about the stitches that I used, because I can see that there's a little bit of pulling at the cluster stitch. The cluster stitches are kind of pulling down, and I think that's why it grew. So it's not really so much about the yarn itself, I don't think. Anyway, this is a little bit fitted at this long ribbing section on the bottom, which was definitely my goal for the fit of this sweater. It's just made with single crochet back loop only ribbing. It's like the most basic, but I find it so easy to attach onto anything because I attach one single crochet back loop only row to one stitch going in the opposite direction, if that makes sense. So I just made the sweater, and then I was able to contiguously make the ribbing without having to do it separately and then sew it on. For the sleeves, I did do it separately and sew it on because I didn't want it to be cinched at all. So I wanted to make sure that I could make it wide enough. And then I still had to stretch it a little bit when I was blocking it so that this would be a perfect, like, straight sleeve look. Love this sweater though. I'm really happy with it. I've already worn it, and I will definitely be wearing it a lot more. I don't find this neckline annoying at all either. This is truly just like the most basic thing ever. There's no shaping at all for the neckline. I just connected these two panels until this point. And I don't find it annoying at all. Maybe it's just because this yarn isn't itchy to me, but it's not like I feel suffocated by it even though there's no shaping. So I might even do this neckline again on something else. It was also just so easy to construct that it is really worth it to do it this way if you don't mind the fit of it. So my works in progress then, I don't have names for these, do I? I have this finished panel. It's this beautiful, oh, what was it called? Fan and V crochet cluster lace, I believe. I'm following a tutorial on how to do this lace, but the construction of the garment is, well, I guess technically my own, but it's also, again, like the most basic construction. I've seen a lot of people making cardigans like this recently where there's no shaping again. And the reason why I felt the need to do this was because I don't know how to add increases and decreases into this lace in a way that would look okay. So for the other sweater, I really could have probably done decreases if I wanted to. I just chose not to do any shaping for that. But this one, I felt like I kind of have to do no shaping. So to show you what you're looking at right now. Again, I made this in one piece. You have the sleeve, and then you have the body portion, and then these are gonna connect. Oh, you can see this is the back and this is the front, and these are gonna connect. Then I've got a pretty loose sleeve. So this is what I wanted. It's gonna be like a bit of a balloon sleeve. Then I'm gonna pull it in at the wrist, so it's gonna be a tight cuff at the wrist. And then this is going to be a cardigan. So this is one side of it, then I'm going to have another side of it, and then I'm going to have long ribbing that is going to button up. So it's going to button up under the bust, and then, so this is something that I can wear like over dresses or, well, also over shirts. I'm really excited for the styling possibilities of this one, and I like that it's kind of formal. Like, I can definitely get away with wearing this in more situations. And also, I love the look of this lace. I love that it's crocheted and it's clearly meant to be crocheted. Like, you cannot, I mean, you can knit something similar, but you can't knit this. You know, you have to crochet this, and I think that it looks so gorgeous. So yes, I'm really, really happy with this. Let's see if you can see that's the back side. So because it is in one piece, the front side is like the right way and the back side is the wrong way, but I don't super mind that. I won't be seeing the back anyway. So the back is also going to be open. I've seen a lot of people make a similar sweater where they sew up the back anyway, but then that's sort of, well, in my mind I can't figure out how that would work without causing some weird pulling. So I'm just going to leave it open at the back as well and then put a ribbon to connect it so that it's not falling off my shoulders. But yeah, so this is my, I don't know what to call it yet. Shell cardigan probably will be the name because that's obviously what it is. Yeah, and I also have this other panel up halfway done. So I'm getting quite far along on this. I think I'll be able to finish it rather soon. At least I'll be done with the lace portion soon, and then the rest of it I can do much more mindlessly because this one, it has a 4-row stitch repeat, which isn't bad. Actually, it comes quite intuitive, but it did take me a few repeats to figure it out, and then I actually had to redo the whole thing because I just realized that I did my sizing a bit wrong. So I started from the beginning, but yeah, after a few repeats it does come naturally and you don't have to think about like what you're doing anymore, but you still obviously have to focus on it more than if it was just, you know, single crochets the whole time or something like that. Like I will do for the ribbing. I'll probably do a single crochet ribbing again. My shell cardigan is made out of white drops flora held together with white drops alpaca. Now the white flora is like a bleached white, but the white brushed alpaca silk is like almost a sort of gray, like it's almost like a light gray hue. And so that sort of gives this a much creamier color, which is interesting because the mohair does have like a cool tone. Like I said, like it's more like a gray, but when you put them together you do get this kind of cream hue, which is exactly what I wanted. And I do love the fuzzy look. Oh, this is actually sort of based on a sweater pattern that I found on Ravelry, but it was published in 2006 in a magazine that you cannot buy anymore, at least not that I've been able to find. So that's why it took me forever to find the right lace pattern, which is surprising because this is so beautiful and I think I've seen it before, like it's not a super rare one, but for some reason it was really hard to find at first. Anyway, yeah, but I think I found like a really good match for the stitch pattern and a pretty good match for the yarn. So I'm gonna get a very similar look, but in a silhouette that's more suited to me, so it's like perfect how it worked out. All right, and then my other work in progress at the moment is something that I'm sort of holding off on working on too much. I sort of got sick of working on the lace at some point and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start my other project because I am really excited about it and I've had the yarn for it for quite a while already. So this is my waffle stitch sweater. I love the look of this stitch texture, and I was originally planning to do a jacket, but then, I don't know, I decided to do a sweater instead. But the thing is, honestly, I might still end up doing a jacket, and this is crazy, and I'm only saying this for the first time right now. Like, I've never even thought about this before. But the problem that I'm sort of having with the yarn is that it's quite, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's quite, structured. Yeah, as you can see. Like, it really holds its shape. And so, I don't know if that's gonna be, like, weird on a sweater. And it would probably work better for a jacket. I don't know if this is the structured, ness of this project is because of the yarn or because of the stitch. It could be the stitch as well. But as you can see, like, it's not flopping here. Yeah, it's staying. I am doing decreases on this sleeve. I'm starting at the sleeve and my plan is to go across the body again seamlessly, but with some shaping around the neck for a round neckline. So we'll see how that goes. I am hopeful that it will go well. But yeah, this is still really quite in the air, as you can see. I've done only this much of one sleeve, and I'm not even sure what it's going to become at the end. So I am really excited, though, about the prospect of doing a lot of things with buttons and zippers right now. I have a plan for a like zip-up sweatshirt kind of thing, which I just love doing those sort of finishing touches that are going to make it look more professional. You know, even if it's just buttons, which isn't really any harder than crocheting. But I just think that adding that detail will make it look more, you know, finessed. Then this waffle stitch sweater jacket thing is made with Drops Soft tweed, yes, which is really an interesting one because it's not that soft. Like, this yarn is truly such a puzzle to me because it doesn't look very tweedy. Yes, there are some specks, but really they can be hard to see. And then the other thing is it doesn't feel very soft. And it feels so like cottony. And I've said this before, but it really puzzles me because I thought maybe when I worked it up it might be different. But the thing is, this is a primarily wool yarn with some alpaca content and then like 23% polyamide or something like that. It's not polyamide, but it's one of those synthetic fibers. So I don't know where the cotton is coming from. I mean, it must be the synthetic fiber, right? But it puzzles me. Like, it's sort of, I don't know how to say this, like, because obviously you're going to think, if I say it's rough like cotton, does that make sense to you? Because obviously you're going to think, well, wool is rough. But it's not rough like wool, it's rough like cotton. You know, where it's kind of dry. That's what it is, it's dry. Yeah, so that's just something to keep in mind if you're interested in buying this yarn. But I do like the color, and I do love looking at the flex when I'm making it. You just can't really see it in the finished product, which is fine. That's probably also partially because of the stitch pattern that I chose, so that's on me. But yes, now let me just quickly show you what things I've been sewing, just because I'm so excited about it. And I have another sewing class tomorrow, so I'm going to be doing some work. So the first thing that I did in this class, just because I wanted to get like my, oh my god, this is so cringe. I wanted to get my Sojo back. Because I've been really into sewing before, like I've gone through phases before, but I've just been really not into it. And it's partially because I feel like everything that I make comes out kind of bad. Or like, you don't know how many things I've made that the seams have ripped. And that's totally on me. That's because I don't follow instructions. With my crochet items as well, as you can see, I don't follow instructions. I'm a self-drafter kind of girl. But that doesn't really work in sewing, honestly. Especially not with any training, without any knowledge of what you're doing. If you just like cut up pieces of cloth and try to sew them together and make that into a garment, it's not gonna work. And I don't know the techniques to make the seams strong. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, anyway. So that's why I'm taking this class. But the first thing that I did was just an easy one. I hemmed a pair of jeans that I bought over the summer that I've not been able to wear. So now I have another pair of jeans in my wardrobe, which is amazing, and I really like the fit of them. I forgot how much I like them. Just because they've been sitting in my mending basket for the past 6 months, but I just did an overlocking edge, and then I sewed it down once. It's a little bit wobbly, but it's pretty good. Like, I was pretty happy for my first project back. Actually, you know what, looking from the outside, it doesn't even look that wobbly. You know, obviously when you're doing it, you can tell that you're kind of wobbling a little bit. In the finished garment, it's not that noticeable, so don't mind if I do pat myself on the back a little bit for that. Then the next thing that I did in my class, and honestly, this was like project 2, I'm already going rogue. I asked my teacher how I should do this, and she was like, well, you know, there's a couple things you could do, and I was like, well, what if I just sewed this elastic on? She's like, well, I really wouldn't do that. And I was like, well, what if I did? She's like, well, it's probably gonna be uncomfortable. And I was like, what if I did though? I feel like I wouldn't be uncomfortable. So then I was already going rogue and just trying to do it my own way. I hope it didn't come off as rude to her, but she was like saying that she's like very a chill teacher. You know, she'll let you be independent and do what you want to do. So anyway, so this is a skirt that I thrifted in London, but the brand says like San Francisco, California or something. Oh, sorry, San Marcos, California. So this has lived quite a life. Now it's in Finland, so. And I took it on my whole road trip around the US, so it's been everywhere, let me tell you. Anyway, it's like this super cute sort of salsa skirt. I really don't know what its story is. It's a size small, but let me tell you that this waistband was so loose that I could get it onto my larger body. But you know what? The thing is, the inside, it looks like somebody's already done some work on it. Like, this is not professional level seaming here. And actually, I had to overlock this edge myself because it was just left undone in there. And I had never really noticed that before until my teacher was like, you're probably going to want to overlock that edge. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I probably do want to overlock that edge. Anyway, love this skirt. All I did was just sew in a bit of elastic so that it would fit me a bit better, because like it would fit over my hips, but then it would, because like there was no elastic in it, so it would just sag there. Now it's gonna fit perfectly. I didn't really cinch it enough. I honestly probably should have cinched it a bit more, but that's totally fine. It is what it is, and I'm not redoing it. I'll tell you right now. I've already sewn this elastic into a couple of projects before that I had to redo. And the last thing that I'm going to show you, even though I did do some other few like little things like patching things and whatever, I'm not going to show you that. But this is my first big project that I would consider like, this is like actually a project. This is a sewing project at this point. This was a dress that I bought from Zara on clearance. It was £10. And I thought it was really cute. I liked the fabric and I liked the fit of it, but the top was too small. So what I did, I chopped off the top because it didn't fit me. Then I made a slit in the skirt and I cut off like a foot off the bottom so that it fits more like a midi length, because I thought like a maxi length skirt would be too formal, especially in this fabric. This looks kind of like a wedding guest dress, if you know what I mean. So I thought, make it a midi length. It's this nice blue floral. This will be very like French girl, very like brunch, very cafe, you know what I mean? So that was my goal, and I think I achieved it. The only thing is that the slit is like a little bit weird. I almost feel like it's a little too short because it doesn't like flow with the garment. Like when you're walking, it doesn't flow in the way that you would expect a skirt with a slit in it to flow. But I'm not gonna redo it right now. I'm gonna wait and wear it a bit and see how I feel then. Just because I'm worried about making it taller and then it's like I'm flashing people, you know what I mean? So, but I'm really happy with it for now. And I actually did this one just at home because like I said, I got like the sewing bug. So then when I got home, I pulled out my sewing machine and I did all these little projects. So yeah, really happy with this though. And that is all for today. I wanted to keep this real nice and short because I don't have storage on my phone to be putting these high quality videos from my camera. It is literally such a burden. And I haven't figured out a better way to edit videos that's not on my phone. And I'm not really looking into it at the moment because I already tried and it exhausted me. So anyway, yes, nice short video, just a little update. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day and week. If